Hello guys, welcome here to another edition of Out of Turn 4. If you've seen Twitter from me, if you follow me at Tinkle _B Hummel, you can guess I was very busy after the weekend at the Cup, or the weekend Cup race at Nashville. So that's all I'm going to say. We got a lot coming up on the show. Of course, we are going to recap Nashville in just a moment, but also coming up on the show, we're going to recap SRX at South Boston. We got a lot of racing news to get to, as well as our race weekend picks. A full weekend of racing going on. But we kick it off with NASCAR at Nashville, and Ryan Preece opened up the weekend strong. Of course, he won the truck race at Nashville. His second career win. Both have come at the track with David Gilliland Racing in the number 17. It is also David Gilliland's second straight win, as you know, for that truck. Of course, if you recall last week at Knoxville, they got the win as well with David Gilliland's son Todd. So, good win for Ryan Preece, and of course, that was really the only strong point for Ford all weekend. Of course, we fast forward to the NASCAR Xfinity race at Nashville, and of course, Justin Allgaier was the one who came out with the victory. He continues Junior Motorsports' dominance on the ovals this year, of course, winning at Nashville, his second win of the year, his 18th career NASCAR Xfinity Series win. And he did it in quite dominating fashion. That car looked strong from the get-go. So, congratulations to Justin Allgaier. The Cup race, if you are fortunate enough to know how to use social media, if you were fortunate enough to stay up late, well, the Cup race ran till midnight, just about. And Chase Elliott was the winner of the rain-delayed NASCAR Cup race at Nashville. Of course, it is his second win of the year, his 15th career victory. Of course, overall, I gotta tell you, Nashville Superspeedway is becoming probably one of my favorite tracks. I mean, it's probably my favorite oval outside of Gateway right now, So that's what I'm going to say about Nashville. It's definitely probably my favorite oval right now. I think it's just so entertaining to watch, and now that they're able to pass, it's remarkable. Honestly, I know all the attention is on Nashville Fairgrounds. Everyone wants to go back there. I say forget that place. Just keep Nashville Superspeedway for all three series. That's just my opinion, of course. Because I think, honestly, they put on a hell of a show. You might as well just stay there. Don't change what's working for you. But I will say what was a shame, and this is where I draw in the little Twitter spat the last few days, of course. So I do have timestamps, of course. If you watched the race, at 9 o'clock, NBC, so we were in a lightning delay, which turned into a heavy rain delay. And that was probably about 8 o'clock. So NBC's under red flag. They're showing some of their segments, just trying to fill time, besides just going to commercial and interviewing drivers. So they're trying to fill time. Finally, it gets to about 8:58, 9 o'clock Eastern time. And NBC comes over the television after going to commercial break, and they say, well, if we resume tonight, we will be over on USA. If we resume tomorrow, we will be over on USA at noon. No further detail released as far as how people will know if the race resumes, and no further detail, unless you have Twitter, follow Bob Pockrass, follow NBC, you wouldn't have known what was going on. But they went straight to America's Got Talent after that, which, granted, now, I will defend it a little bit. America's Got Talent is NBC's top rating summer show to my knowledge. So I can completely get why they had to go to that. But again, the lack of communication. Now, you guys have heard, you've heard a year and a half of me bashing NBC in their coverage constantly. And I'm here to tell you, nothing's gonna change. Plain and simple. Ultimately their coverage up to that point, the booth was doing a great job explaining the next gen car. I'm not gonna lie, I side with those NASCAR YouTubers that say that they learn a great deal from NBC compared to Fox. I will agree with them 100%. Where I disagree, and I say Fox is better, at least Fox finishes on the main network that they started on, if the race continues during the day. And on top of it, they do a better job of communicating what's going on with the race. If they got to go off to other coverage, they'll cut in when they have an update. That's just how it is. You don't get that on NBC. It's, if you don't have Twitter, it's basically NBC saying, if you don't have Twitter, fuck you. We don't care about you. Okay? So just tune into USA and watch Law and Order, the same episode that's aired 1,000 times already on that network. So, granted, Law and Order's a good show. But, lack of communication. Here's the thing. I'm not surprised by this, as you can tell. I've spent a year and a half talking about how NBC is throwing away money just in disrespecting motorsports in general. To those who are not IndyCar fans, to those who are not IMSA fans or don't watch those races on NBC, guess what? This goes on another series and it's far worse than what we dealt with last night. Okay. Of course, IndyCar constantly, if they run past their time slot, immediate over to Peacock, or it was over to NBCSN when NBCSN was a thing. So, they never finished the race on the same network that they started on. Unless it was the Indy 500. Then, by all means, they finished that race on the same network. So, all I'm going to say is if you want to if you want to deem yourself or name yourself the home of motorsports, maybe you should start respecting motorsports a little bit better. Just going to throw that out there. Because NBC, you clearly don't have the respect for motorsports. So either get rid of that slogan or change how you're going to broadcast the races. I get it. Again, America's Got Talent had to air. But I've also seen it on CBS where games get delayed, because of lightning or something. And they say, well, we are going to show 60 minutes in its entirety when our football coverage is concluded, even if that means other programs don't start on time. So little things like that you could have done. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. If golf, well, actually, I'll leave it at this. We've seen it before. If golf, tennis, track, any of that's on the NBC main network runs over, they run over their allotted coverage, they're always granted the extra time. Especially if IndyCar or NASCAR follow, they grant them that extra time. Why is it that they're allowed to run over? And granted, I don't think, no offense to those who like track and field, but I don't give a flying fuck about track and field, okay? I don't give a flying fuck about it. Plain and simple. And I'm pretty sure a bunch of race fans don't care about that either. So, why are they allowed to run over their allotted time, and basically force us to miss the start of IndyCar, IMSA, NASCAR coverage? But if any motorsport runs over their allotted coverage, they get shifted over to another network, or you have to go to Peacock Premium to watch the finish. That's all I got. That's the most important question here. So, again, I've gone on for a year and a half about this, and I'm telling you I'm not going to let up. So if you guys don't like me bashing NBC, I'm sorry, this ain't the network for you. But I do hope you stay, because there's more to this show than just bashing NBC. But I will say they took a giant L this race. They took, to me, what looked like a B- coverage to an F. Just on that. Just on the fact that they did not communicate when the race was going to resume, based on the fact that they left everybody hanging and made everyone switch networks. You made deals to put races on the main network. That's the other thing I want to lead. I want to leave off with this. You made deals to put races on the main network. A certain amount of races on the main network. We know people are cutting the cord. Not at the rate that NBC thinks they are. Okay. The casual, free cable person, maybe on a Sunday afternoon, it's too hot outside. I know it was 95 degrees here on Sunday. The casual, someone that just has basic cable, they could have just flipped through channels, said, CBS has golf right now. Fox might have the USFL, I don't know. And then they see, NBC's got NASCAR coverage. I want to, let's put this on. It seems like the best of what's on TV right now. That's how you draw in the casual fan. And that's how you draw in a new crowd. Because everybody gets NBC. If you have an antenna, you get NBC. There's no disputing that. Okay, to me, putting it on the main network, the biggest word for any race on, a basic cable network is opportunity. And it's clear that NBC doesn't care about the opportunity as opposed to their rivals over at Fox. So maybe it's time for them to give the coverage to someone who is going to care and put in the effort. And I propose ESPN, as I've said 100 times on this network. So again, I'll leave it at that, but I assure you this is not the last of me probably ranting and raving about this. But again, NBC, they took an F. The racing itself, I would say an A-. It was probably one of the best races I've watched all year. And again, I feel bad for those who couldn't watch the finish either because they had to go to bed early or because of other reasons. On to SRX at South Boston. We got to kind of speed this up now. So Tony Stewart picks up where he left off last season, winning the main event at South Boston. But the biggest story, of course, from that race, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Michael Waltrip, they get together on track. And Waltrip took his car, basically used it as a weapon, and attacked Ryan Hunter-Reay under the caution. Ryan Hunter-Reay, this is an adjustment. I don't want to say anybody's in the wrong. It's just an adjustment. You're so used to having a spotter, and it's tough when you don't have a spotter. It's tough to know if you're clear. It's tough to know if someone's to your inside. It's essentially like driving on the highway, to me. At least from my vantage point, it's like driving on the highway, and you get those blind spots. I don't want to say Ryan Hunter-Reay. Ryan Hunter-Reay was still in the wrong, by cutting down the track. But again, I question, did he see Waltrip and cut down, or was it a blind spot and he just didn't see him? I think that's just something. I haven't seen Ryan Hunter-Reay's interview, but that's something I think that needs to be, kept in mind as far as SRX goes. There's no spotters in that series. So, anyway, moving on, of course, to the racing news. And I gotta just say, SRX puts on a hell of a show. If you haven't checked it out, every Saturday night, 8 p.m. on CBS, go watch it, honestly. CBS puts NBC out. CBS puts together an amazing broadcast. Hey, I think dramatically better than Fox and NBC combined. So if you want really good coverage and pretty decent racing, go over to CBS on Saturday night for the next 4 weeks. Something like that. But anyway, on to the racing news. And the biggest news, of course, everyone had the rumors going around Martin Truex Jr. was going to retire at the conclusion of the season. Well, Martin Truex Jr. released a statement this past week saying, "I am back." And he has confirmed that he and Joe Gibbs Racing have made a deal for the 2023 season. So Martin Truex Jr. back in the number 19. Of course, I think this is good news, and I think this is welcome news. Again, I'm not a fan of Martin Truex Jr. To be honest, I'm really not a fan of him at all. I think he's, him, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, I can't stand. But to be honest, looking at the pool below him, I like this move a lot. I think it's a great move to bring back Martin Truex Jr., especially looking, again, the talent pool below, just, at least in the Toyota level, there's one driver who's ready, and the rest either are Xfinity lifers or they are just not anywhere near ready to go. So what does this mean for Ty Gibbs, John Hunter Nemechek? And actually, I'll add in Noah Gragson as well. I feel like that was a ride that Noah Gragson could have been a candidate for. So, there will be another opportunity that opens up for Noah. He'll be in the Cup somewhere in a top tier ride. Something tells me. I thought maybe Joe Gibbs, as many people did because of the Bass Pro Shops sponsorship, but I assure you something will come up for Noah Gragson. As far as Ty Gibbs, I think this means another year of NASCAR Xfinity competition and a much-needed second full season. Because, again, the way that Ty Gibbs races, he's not ready. Plain and simple. Yeah, he's won races. Yeah, he's probably, one of the better drivers in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but he's not ready. He's nowhere near ready to go. He's at least another year or two out from being Cup ready. And we've discussed that multiple times as well. As far as John Hunter Nemechek, again, he's the most Cup ready guy. So I don't think the door, to be honest, between the three drivers, of course, John Hunter, Ty Gibbs, Noah Gragson, John Hunter Nemechek's the most ready to go. And I feel like he's the best case scenario right now, assuming that nothing can be done as far as Kyle Busch goes. But I assume Kyle Busch will be back. So, again, I think if Kyle Busch leaves, that's where I'll say it. If Kyle Busch leaves, I don't think he's going to. I think they'll find something for him. But assuming he does, like some of the media loves to, circulate, like feed us as far as that goes, try to fuel the fire. I think John Hunter's the guy that's ready to go. And I feel like John Hunter would be the best candidate for the number 18 in general. Going on to IMSA now. Of course, we don't talk IMSA very often on here, but I feel this is a great story, and of course it does tie into IndyCar. If you watched Saturday's Tioga Downs 120 at the Glen, Robert Wickens, he is officially a winner once again. Him and his partner Wilkins, they got the win in the Michelin Pilot Challenge race at the Glen. It is Robert Wickens' first win in over 5 years. It's been about 5 years since his last victory in motorsports, and it's his first win since coming back to racing from his devastating Pocono accident. And again, I've stated many times, I was there when that happened, and it was probably the scariest thing I've ever witnessed in my life. So, that hit me in the feels watching it, and it's the feel-good story of the week. Robert Wickens coming back from being, paralyzed. He's paralyzed from the waist down. And for him to come back to racing, take that chance, and essentially have it pay off, I think that's remarkable, and it says a lot about the character of Robert Wickens, and it just makes you gain so much respect for the guy. So, congratulations to Robert Wickens. Big win. I'm glad to have met you, Robert. I'm glad to have met you at Mid-Ohio. And even more happy to see him back in victory lane, especially after everything he's gone through in the last few years. Felix Rosenqvist, one of the McLaren drivers, of course, he has signed an extension with Arrow McLaren Schmidt-Peterson, mainly McLaren. Of course, though, it is still uncertain what series he will race in. Rumors are now swirling that he could return to Formula E with McLaren, but of course, there's a chance he could still run IndyCar. We still don't know. And honestly, he's having a career year in IndyCar, so I think he should stay there and build off of that. Because I feel like he's doing well over there. And of course, adding Alexander Rossi next year, I feel like that can take him to the next level in terms of IndyCar. Again, I have been a constant person to say that I just don't think any driver in IndyCar right now should waste their time going over to F1, because they're not going to be competitive over there. They're just going to be back markers, or they're going to be out of the series in a few years. So that's why I honestly hope that Felix Rosenqvist stays in the IndyCar paddock next year. But again, we'll see. Some more announcements, of course, coming soon. We are only midway through the motorsports season, so we still got a lot of news still to be announced. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has signed a multi-year extension with JTG Doherty Racing, and again, they've built up quite a bit the last few years. We give Ricky a lot of crap for constantly wrecking, but he's honestly put up some decent results when he can for JTG Doherty, and I feel like he's their best chance to win a race right now. That, and of course having sponsorship really helps, but I feel that's the best case scenario for JTG Doherty, being kind of the middle of the road team. Alright, well, another Cup owner, or other news, of course, Trackhouse owner Justin Marks. You may remember him, of course. He drove for Chip Ganassi Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for a while. He ran a bunch of the road courses in the series, and he's run some Cup road courses in the past. Of course, he announced his retirement just a few years back, so that way I believe he could focus on his K&N team, which is now Arca Menard's team. But now, of course, Cup owner, he announced on Saturday that he will be coming out of retirement. Justin Marks will run the SRX race at Stafford Motor Speedway, replacing Elio Castroneves, who had a scheduling conflict. I assume it's something to do with IndyCar at Mid-Ohio this weekend. And it's great to see Justin Marks back in the car. I'd love to see him drive his own Cup car, but I don't think we're going to see that happen. But, Justin Marks coming back, that's going to be great. And I think it's going to be a great momentum boost for his team, because now he's going to have Pitbull, he's going to have Ross Chastain, he's going to have Daniel Suarez rooting him on. And I think that's just great to see. And Justin's a great driver. I feel he'd be a great fit in SRX this weekend. Alright, that's all we've got for the news. So we're on to the picks, and we do start with SRX at Stafford, and I'm going to pick Greg Biffle to win that race. He's been kind of close all year. He looked pretty good at South Boston. I think this is the time where, yes, the 69 car gets to victory lane. IndyCar at Mid-Ohio. I'm so depressed I'm not going to be there this year, unfortunately. So Joseph Newgarden is my pick to win the race this year. He won it last year. Penske's on a roll this year. I think this is their race to lose. Xfinity Series at Road America. I'm going to go with AJ Allmendinger. Again, road course veteran. Probably the best road course racer in the series. Need I say more? Cup Series at Road America. I'm going to stick with the guy who won last year, Chase Elliott. And I think he'll get back-to-back wins. He looked real strong last year at Road America. And Hendrick, and the Chevys in general have been really strong on the road courses this year. It wouldn't even shock me to see someone like Ross Chastain win, or, Daniel Suarez again. But I feel that Chase Elliott's probably the safer one. He hasn't won on a road course yet this year. I feel he breaks that streak entering Road America. That's all we got for this week. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in to No Final Bell tomorrow. And of course, if you don't tune in for that, we hope to see you on Sunday for Sunday Morning Tinkle, the final episode of the summer. And if not, I will see you back here on Tuesday for another edition of Out of Turn 4. Until then, goodbye, everyone.